Hey everyone, Dr. Rob here. I want to take a moment to spotlight my sponsors, Professional Co-op, empowering clinicians with premium access to top-tier lab services at a fraction of the cost. Since 2001, Professional Co-op has redefined what efficient, patient-centered support should look like. No hidden fees, no minimums, and you only pay for completed tests. It's lab access made simple, transparent, and affordable. Trusted by licensed healthcare professionals across the country, Professional Co-op is your strategic partner in delivering high-quality care. Discover more at www.professionalco-op.com. A quick shout out to my other sponsor, Functional Medicine University, one of the top online programs for learning functional medicine. Founded by Dr. Ron Grisanti, FMU has trained thousands of healthcare professionals in over 50 states and over 68 countries. It's completely online, self-paced, and CE approved for a wide range of clinicians, MDs, DCs, NDs, PAs, and more. At the end of the program, you earn your certified functional medicine practitioner credential, something that's truly elevated my clinical approach. If you're ready to level up your practice with evidence-based root cause care, FMU is the place to start. Check them out at functionalmedicineuniversity.com. Hey everybody, Dr. Rob Silverman here. I'm excited. This guest is going to light you up. There's no doubt about it. He's going to share some passion with you. We got Dane Johnson. Dane, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Rob. I'm doing excellent on this beautiful day, and I'm so excited to be here. I want to start with an affirmation. Healing is possible. I want to make space for you. You can do this. It's hard. It's difficult. We are not meant to be sick. The body can heal. The gut can heal. It is possible. And I hope we can serve you today and really give you some nuggets to change your life. Thanks for being here.
Indeed, indubitably well said, no doubt. So 3 million Americans have IBD, ongoing inflammation of all or part of the digestive tract. Crohn's disease is the whole digestive tract. It's patchy. It's inflamed. Ulcerative colitis is more damage in the large intestine. Both are chronic inflammatory conditions. Crohn's can have complete remission, which is kind of less common than colitis. Now, you are very unique in that you had one of the worst cases of IBD in the history of the world. Why don't you tell everybody your story? Why don't you tell them where you came from? It is fascinating.
Yeah, the long story, but the gist and the biggest thing you need to know about this story is I was just a good old boy from Virginia who ate whatever I wanted. And all of a sudden, at 19 years old, I started getting blood in the stool and it's looking like a crime scene. I'm in shame. What's going on? I was an athlete. I like to play sports. I didn't eat too bad, but growing up in Virginia, you only focus on macros, right? Go eat some Papa John's, run it off tomorrow. That was the mentality. So we just focused on that and I was in shape. I loved to lift weights. I loved to play sports. I was a nice person. And all of a sudden I'm just getting sick. By 23, I'm diagnosed with this kind of shameful thing where my colon is inflamed. What am I going? What is this? I have nothing going. I've never heard of this. My family hadn't heard of this. They called it ulcerative colitis. I remember even being in shame telling people the name of the disease, like ulcerative colitis. And your friends going, "What's that?" And it's like, well, my colon's chronically inflamed and it's injured, and I can't go to the bathroom right, and I have to go to the bathroom 15, 20 times a day. I just remember thinking extreme shame at 22, 23, like a lot of it, especially being a guy who worked hard to, compete and be somebody. And I had big expectations for my life. So my personality did not fit that very well. It really hurt me, caused a lot of trauma. Then another doctor said it was Crohn's disease. And I said, what's that? Well, it's just the same IBD, but it's more from anywhere from the mouth all the way down to the anus. It's not just the colon. Then different doctors kept disagreeing on the diagnosis of what form of inflammatory bowel disease it was. So eventually it was just, I've got Crohn's and colitis. And I've got an inflamed colon. Maybe it's gastritis. Maybe the ileum's doing, is inflamed, not inflamed. Is it Crohn's? They were indeterminate on that. So Crohn's and colitis. Then it was like, okay, try to calm down the diet, restrict this, take some 5-ASA mesalamine, take 6-MP or immunomodulator. So don't suppress the immune system yet, just modulate it, right? Like an exit off a highway, just go that way. Inflammation, right? Well, that didn't work. All right, let's go on Remicade. Now we're going to go ahead and suppress the immune system to calm down that cytokine reaction. By suppressing the immune system, we hope the body starts to heal itself, right? There's no growth factors in a biologic. It's just we hope the body will start to stimulate a healing response. And I wasn't getting better with that. And so, okay, well, we're going antibiotics. We're going on prednisone. Now, steroid prednisone, which is a cortisol steroid, acts as an immunosuppressant. You can't be on it long term, so you have to be on it short term, give your body a break, and then go back on, taper all the way off, go back on. So I tapered on and off for about 4 years straight of prednisone. And I went from, 6'2", 175, 180 pounds, with a 315 bench press at 6% body fat. I could do 30 pull-ups straight. Strong, I could run, I could jump. I was in great shape. I loved exercise, 5-6 days a week. By the time I was turning 27, I was in the hospital for a month straight. I weighed 122 pounds. I could not walk. I could not go to the bathroom by myself. My mom and my sister took turns staying at the hospital with me. I was in that hospital for 4 weeks straight. And they put a bedpan under me to relieve just some mucus, water, and blood. And I was going in and out of consciousness. I was having extreme pain. It felt like I was pooping glass. And I couldn't eat anything. So because I couldn't eat, they eventually just put me on TPN feeding tube, where they make an incision and they basically feed you through your stomach through the incision under your lower arm. And I was told I had to get a full colectomy with and have a stoma bag. So you've got to get your total colon removed, wear a bag so you relieve the bowels into the bag for at least 6 months until we could potentially have a reversal surgery for what's called a J pouch. If that's unsuccessful or you're too inflamed, you might have to stay with a lifelong J pouch. So this has happened to me while I'm turning 27. I turned 27 in the hospital fighting for my life. I almost died in December 2014. Wow. My birthday is November. So I turned 27 in that hospital. I had and the crazy thing is like, it was like two lives, Dr. Rob. It was like two faces. I mean, on one hand, I had started to make it. I was shooting movies. I was shooting commercials. I was doing shots with Tommy Hilfiger, live television. I was doing Nautica. I was doing Patagonia, and I was flying around the world as a young 20-something where I had made a career as an actor and model out of nowhere, but while I was facing basically a life-threatening disease. All this happened from 19 to 27. So I was losing my life while at the same time, the universe had given me something that most of us think that's never going to happen to me. And no one found me. I went and built this in LA. I took a one-way trip right after college a little while later and just moved to LA and just kind of made it happen. I had to work the system, right, to start doing something besides being a waiter or, working in software sales. I worked for Oracle Software for a little while out of college to build my degree after that. But nonetheless, it was like, everyone out there who's been sick, can you imagine being given a gift and then giving like the opposite worst, like the worst thing that ever happened to you and the best thing that ever happened to you at the age of 24 happens at the exact same time. I was diagnosed and then I was signed by one of the biggest agencies in the world in the exact same year. Amazing. So it was to me, it was an irony. It was like, am I someone's plaything? Is God smiting me? I would look at my mom and my dad, and the usual thing as you do as a kid is, help me, save me. Then they write a check, run themselves around in circles to fly you around the country. And you just think, okay, there's going to be a doctor who's just going to go in. They're going to jab me with something, give me a pill. I'm going to go back to my life. That was me at 22, 23. That was what I conditioned to, right? I was conditioned as a young man that we just delegate out our health. So that's what we did. $30,000 to $40,000 later from a middle-class family. We were not rich. Both my parents worked 9 to 5 jobs and they worked hard for a lot of years. The house I grew up in when I was a kid was worth about $150,000. Okay. This is not like we didn't have a lot of money. We weren't poor, but we weren't wealthy. So $30,000 later, trying natural medicine, going to conventional medicine, out-of-pocket expenses my network wouldn't cover. 30, 50 grand later, I'm more sick than where we started. And so it was testing every fiber, everything I knew about life. Like when something bad happens to you, a lot of us just want to clam up and just become resentful. Like I just resent this. I'm just going to throw my arms up. I'm a victim. I'm just going to binge Netflix. I'm not going to get dressed. Why should I even get dressed for the day? Why should I even care, Dad? Why should I even care, Mom? Why? Yeah, doctor's just going to tell me the same old thing. Just another colonoscopy. Yeah, you got inflammation. Duh. Yep, we need to get this or surgery or that medication. And so it took me a lot of years to even get to a point where I was willing to be the CEO of my health. And that's when my life changed. And I went down a very foggy journey that some people had gone through. books out there. Jordan Rubin, shout out to him and his book, The Maker's Guide and Patient Heal Thyself. And some of the 90s leaders, the 90s and early 2000s leaders, Elaine Godshaw, J.D. Patel Thompson, some of the people in the IBD space. And all I really had were their books because the internet wasn't where it is. These podcasts weren't where they are. There weren't leaders in the space of functional medicine as strong. And it was still like, okay, let's just fast and do 50 bananas a day, the fruitarian diet, or let's just do the carnivore diet. And I was a little sick beyond just using a famous diet to get the result. And I had a lot I had to do. But in 2014, when I checked myself out of the hospital, I'd already been practicing natural medicine for 3 or 4 years. I was working with my naturopath professor, becoming a functional nutritionist, specializing in gut health and IBD. And, it took me about a year. I was housebound for a year, Dr. Rob. So I get out of the hospital. I almost die. What saved my life was an antiviral chemotherapy. And this is where I started realizing there are deeper problems beyond like just inflammation. There's a why for the inflammation. There's a why for why this is happening to you. And all of a sudden, a big one hit me. There was a doctor in Florida who my mom became the doctor, right? In the ER room, I'm dying. She's calling every doctor I'd seen over the last 5 years. There's a doctor in Florida who believed that cytomegalovirus had taken over my body. It was active in my colon, causing my colon to become so inflamed. Got on with the insurance company and the local doctor at that hospital to say, if you don't give him this antiviral chemotherapy, he's going to die. And I was dying. No one could figure it out. I was on 4 antibiotics. I was on 3 grams of infused Dilaudid. I was on 200 milligrams of infused prednisone. I've been taking prednisone like Skittles for years. I had already failed certain biologics, immunomodulators. I'd been on mesalamine for years. I'd already done restrictive diets. Like they didn't know what else to do. Gave me the antiviral. Within 2 to 3 days, I woke back up, became conscious. About a week later, I decided to check myself out of the hospital despite their recommendations. Because there's only so much you can do with a feeding tube under fluorescent lights in a stressful environment like that. It was just like, I thought I'd be better off at home, getting sun and eating, and I'd just been there. I'd been there for a month. So I was housebound from a year there. It took me about 2 to 3 months to regain my ability to walk. So I was bedridden for about 2 to 3 months. And then it took me about a year to be able to get normal and healthy again. And it was crazy. 18 months later, I was shooting for Men's Health magazine and I had booked a lead role in a movie. And to me, it was just like, I just went through hell and now I'm back into this industry and I had to learn. I spent at least 50, 60 hours a week studying any kind of natural medicine, nutrition, immune system response, the MALT, the GALT, the mucosal membrane, the microbiome, working with all my naturopath professors, just constantly training because I was patient zero. It was like, what actually gets a probiotic to work? What is actually the role of fiber? What are the benefits of carnivore, ketosis, or fasting? And how do I do that when I'm malnourished, underweight, and anemic? And so I had to really try this stuff on me. That was the beautiful thing, because when I was going through school, it wasn't just concept. I was doing it on myself. And so, it's like, that's when I really decided. I retired at 29 from that career. I walked into my agent's office and they had a few jobs for me the next week. I was working for like Laura Piana and I was at another booking and someone was going to fly me out somewhere for some campaign. And I said, I'm moving back to California because I need to be with the earth. I need sun. I need organic food. I was living in Manhattan and I'm going to go ahead and hang up my hat. I think I'm done with the industry. And instead of the industry firing me, I didn't fire the industry, but I walked out on my own terms, which I always felt good about that. And because I was able to work some throughout all those experiences, not in that year I did not, but around that, and if you guys want to see that, I actually, and I think really the universe or God even manifested this for me. I didn't have any income and I'd done a lot of stuff to be able to make sure my costs were really low. And the universe brought the company 23andMe to my doorstep because they wanted to shoot a documentary on inflammatory bowel disease, and they paid me a few $1,000s to come to my house and document me trying to heal myself. So if you go to YouTube and go 23andMe Dane Johnson, you'll see it. It's in like 2014. Wow. And I was 140 pounds, and they're looking at me drinking bentonite clay with psyllium husk, and me chopping up all these carrots and get rid of the skins and pressure cooking them to reduce lectins and be able to handle the fiber. Amazing. And I was having 10 bowel movements a day when they recorded that.
What do you think was the moment? And more so than that, wow, so much there to really unbox. What do you think was the moment where you said, I got to move on and I got to take care of myself? Like you said, I want to be the CEO of my health. And what for you was the cause? Did you ever really figure out what the cause was?
The biggest epiphany I had is there's no such thing as a root cause. It's root causes. You have to change the perspective at which you look at the problem. We're looking at it wrong.
I love it. I love it. I agree. I don't think there's any one thing. I think there's a myriad of issues, a myriad of causes. I wholeheartedly agree with that. Excellent.
Okay, so here's some things I found. Number one, I had been using Invisalign for 13 months prior to me getting ulcerative colitis. You look at the clinical research now in 2025, and it's coming out that people with IBD have up to 50% more microplastic in their GI tract than the average person. Microplastics, I think, is destroying the gut. We never have drinking water out of plastic water bottles ever before about 30 years ago, ever. Right. Plastic is a massive problem. Anywhere you look in functional medicine, the core problem is these chemicals and toxins are inhibiting the growth of beneficial bacteria. They are disrupting the microbiome, allowing the gram-negative proliferated bacteria to grow. So the Candida is supposed to be only in the colon, is being able to proliferate up the GI, causing SIFO, and same with the bacteria, going up the GI, causing small intestine bacteria overgrowth, SIBO. And then that is causing a massive increase in lipopolysaccharides and endotoxins that are making it into the bloodstream and overwhelming the liver, because all of the bloodstream vessels, the blood vessels in the gut, leading to the liver, causing metabolic endotoxemia. Then that's also making the lymphatic system completely overwhelmed. So we are taking a river. The body, a natural, energetic, strong body, is a running river, and autoimmune disease is a stagnant pond. The increase in lipopolysaccharides, endotoxins, bacteria overgrowth, fungal overgrowth, the inhibiting growth of the good bacteria is cascading a massive disease state of the body. Drainage pathways, lymphatic, liver, skin, your ability to have a bowel movement, okay, and your kidneys. They are not properly working. They are overwhelmed. The microbiome has lost its balance, and now you're getting an inflammatory response from the dial, from the dysbiosis, from the SIBO. If you have IBS and IBD, there's probably a 9 to 9.5 out of 10 chance that you have some form of dysbiosis and SIBO. I can almost guarantee it. Even though SIBO is hard to find, it is there. You know, I'm not just relying on methane or a hydrogen breath test to tell me if you have SIBO or not.
Yeah, I got to pull the reins on you. You just gave everybody, wow. I love it. So everybody knows how important the gut is. It's a delicate ecosystem. Great discussion about lipopolysaccharides, the endotoxin, direct binder. I really enjoyed your description of what goes on with SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, and something that's not talked enough about, SIFO, small intestinal fungal overgrowth. 97% of the fungals are Candida-based. Outstanding. And really the gut to the liver pathway, whatever you do to your gut, you do to your liver, whatever you do to your liver, you do to your gut. I do not know why people do not discuss liver anymore. I've been in functional medicine for 20 years, and we used to have detoxification in liver in every seminar discussion. Now it's an afterthought. That pathway has not gone away. It's not absent. It was not erased by the pencil head. However, what's most interesting is the idea of dysbiosis, that unleveling of good and bad bacteria. And I agree with you that may be the bane of our existence, and it's not discussed enough in our genre. Within that, one more key point. I agree with you. The tests for SIBO and SIFO are not necessarily that accurate at this juncture. Leaky gut, dysbiosis, we're there. So
yeah,
go ahead, take up a time, baby. Keep going. Let's go. Keep running.
So here's the thing. The second thing I found, why aren't the doctors even mentioning the word SIBO? SIBO is not woo-woo. SIBO is just real. It's classic. It's 2 + 2 = 4. Not one person at Mayo Clinic or Cedars-Sinai or UCLA ever looked at me and said, maybe you have small intestine bacteria overgrowth. Maybe you have small intestine fungal overgrowth, where Candida albicans and Candida species have become overgrown, causing an inflammatory reaction. The clinical research is there. We know it increases inflammatory reaction and cytokine reactions. No one mentioned it. And so I had dysbiosis. I had SIBO. I had SIFO. Here's also what's interesting. If you've been sick more than 5 years, I can almost promise that you have SIBO. It's getting worse as the problem starts to proliferate, okay? The colonic dysbiosis easily turns into SIBO when not checked. Small intestine fungal overgrowth versus basic overgrowth in your colon, colonic dysbiosis versus SIBO. It will turn into the other, especially when the mucosal membrane is weakened, because that allows the bacteria to grow up the 28 feet of the GI tract. The mucosal membrane keeps that in check. And it also keeps in check the endotoxins. When you have a thick, healthy mucous membrane, it helps to keep in check the endotoxins, stopping the metabolic endotoxemia, where your liver is getting overwhelmed, where the amount of lipopolysaccharides is in your gut. Some research has shown, I was talking to Dr. Tom Fabian about this as I was speaking at a conference last week with him, and we were talking about how people with SIBO can have upwards of 6 to 10 times the amount of LPS in their bloodstream than the average person, because there's no strong mucosal membrane in the upper GI. The strength of how you protect the gut lining, the mucosal membrane, is much weaker in the duodenum and the jejunum than it is in the colon. So as it proliferates over time, it exacerbates the problem. That's why at year 3, you could handle certain foods. Year 6, you're getting more strict. Year 7, you're getting more histamine reaction. Now you've got MCAS. Now you've got different autoimmune. Now you've got chronic fatigue. Now you've got pancreatitis. Now you've got skin reactions. It's all just exasperating from the same root issues. So my second thing is, no one had even talked to me about the balance of the microbiome and the clinical research of what even endotoxemia was and how the liver was involved. By the time I found this, Dr. Rob, I had massive amounts of candida overgrowth right there in a non-invasive quantitative PCR stool analysis. They didn't have to do a colonoscopy. I didn't do an invasive potential proliferation of a colon. Just do a stool test. It was right there. No one told me. I was so angry about this, but it wasn't their job. Their emergency care physicians were healers. Okay. And so I had to learn emotionally to separate. They saved my life, but functional medicine will empower you to live your best life and be able to treat these root issues. This isn't about the debate of root cause or not. This is just science. This is just obvious. The liver can get overwhelmed. You need optimal digestion. People with IBD tend to have an overwhelmed liver, poor digestion. They have a weakened mucosal membrane. They have low keystone microbiota like Akkermansia. So when I learned this stuff, it was like, wait, I don't have to worry about what the root cause of IBD is. Just fix the machine. Just fix the anatomy. This is anatomy. This is not up for debate. This is anatomy. You have low stomach acid, you have dysbiosis, your liver's overwhelmed, and you have no beneficial bacteria growing in it. That's not up for debate. It's just there. Let's just look. It's just there. You could say, well, that's not the cause of IBD. Let me ask you, doctor, if I optimize my digestion, regulate my microbiome, and start incentivizing my mucosal membrane to be nice and healthy and formed, do you think I might get less blood, less bloating, less cramping, less brain fog, better energy, and be able to retain my weight, electrolytes, and anemia, and get rid of anemia? What do you think? Do you think I'll be able to absorb iron better? You think I'll be able to break down a steak better? You think I'll be able to handle fiber better? Why is it we have to go on low FODMAP? Because we have dysbiosis.
Absolutely.
So this is like the big thing, that and the toxins and then the viral load. And I found the more sick you are, not to cut you off, Rob, the more sick you are, the more these symptoms stack. It's not that you caught it. It's that your body is now susceptible to the parasites. Low stomach acid and poor microbiome makes you susceptible to parasites, makes you susceptible to bacteria infections, makes you susceptible to viruses, makes you susceptible to mold toxicity. Your cell, even at a cellular level, lipid fat bilayers are not strong. Your cells can't even protect themselves from intercellular toxicity. Your extracellular matrix can no longer detox. Your lymphatic system doesn't work.
You did a great job of making a point that we don't discuss enough in functional medicine. We always talk about the leaky gut in the lower GI tract. We never talk about the upper GI tract.
Right there. Yeah.
Right there. And the expression of LPS increases the incidence of heart disease by 3 times.
What doesn't it increase? What disease does it not increase? It's
amazing. How is it not a prime marker for any kind of Western doc? I don't get it.
Dr. Rob, there's one test that's really looking at it. Vibrant America wheat tumor blood analysis will give you an idea of lipopolysaccharides. It also gives you an idea of zonulin in the blood, which is your protein that helps to show amount of leaky gut. So if you're looking for leaky gut, you want to look at zonulin in the stool and you want to look at zonulin in the blood, both. Because the blood can also give you more of a permanency where the gut can change and heal really quickly. So the amount of zonulin in your gut might be down, but it might still be really high in your body, saying, hey, you still need to watch it.
Well, I'm going to one-up you. All right, here we go.
Okay, go. You already got one for me.
This is great because we don't have to agree, but as long as we agree disagreeably, now we want to agree agreeably.
Yeah.
Bottom line, I like the KBMO diagnostic test. It's blood. It does test for LPS, tests
Yeah.
for zonulin and occludin and candida. But what it does, the key element for the zonulin, it tests for the zonulin antibodies.
Yes.
Because zonulin goes up and down all day long.
Mhm.
So it's the antibody. And that's truth in many of these pathogenic diseases like Lyme, leaky gut, any of these things. You were not worried so much about the presence of something, you're worried about the production of antibodies.
Name that
That
test again
said,
for everybody, Dr. Rob. What was the name of that test?
KBMO Diagnostics, it's
There
their
we go.
leaky gut barrier panel. He uses one, I use the other. But at least we're testing and not guessing to see all that we have to in a reveal and hopefully get to the blind spots.
That's it. You got it. And what are we learning from this? How excited? I think everyone out there, the reason why Dr. Rob's so passionate about this, I'm so passionate about this, is we've taken our power back. We can now help heal ourselves and our families by just understanding the body and how you respond to adversity. This is what I like to say. The cure for Crohn's and colitis is not the ability to eradicate dis-ease. The cure for Crohn's and colitis is the ability to respond to adversity.
I want to get into some of the causes of IBD. I'm going to hit you with some,
Sure.
and then I want you to add to it because I know you have some specific ones that you highlighted in your program. Number one, genetic components. Mom has it, you can have it. Immune system, autoimmunity,
Mm-hmm.
environmental factors, which you highlighted just before, the microbiome, which you gave a great dissertation on, stress, which is something you were probably going through because you had to book your next job,
Mm-hmm.
age, you don't have to worry about that. That's more my genre now. Ethnicity. IBD is more common in people of European descent, as myself. And lastly, non-steroid anti-inflammatories, Aleve, Advil, and ibuprofen. Now, you had some that were directly pertaining to your issue.
So there's a lot there that we could go over. You know, the whole idea of genetic. The more we learn about genetics, the more we see that they're interwoven with our experience and our microbiome. The cells are talking to the bacteria and vice versa. And so when mom has these underlying root issues and she has the active Th1 response to these issues, this can be passed down. And that's what's happening. I talked to a kid yesterday. His mom's had ulcerative colitis. He's in Long Island. His mom's had ulcerative colitis for 30 years. She had her total colon removed. He wanted to join the program out of hope that he wouldn't follow because at 28 years old, he started getting 20 bloody bowel movements a day of UC, and he's scared as can be, traumatized as can be. And my belief, okay, just what I believe and what I would want to bestow on anyone that like that is you can change how your body responds by cleaning up, number one, what it's responding to, and you can condition the body to be better, just like you can lift a weight. You can condition the nervous system to be better. You can condition the immune system to be better. You can help to condition that autoimmune reaction. You can rebuild the mucosal membrane. You can rebuild the epithelial cell lining. You can diversify the microbiome. It's like if you just went, here's a good example. If you go to Bali, it's very common that a Western person will get Bali belly. But people in Bali don't get Bali belly. Why? Because they've been conditioned for the environment that they can handle it. Okay, so if a Western world person goes to Bali, preps themselves right, starts conditioning themselves, within a year or two, they will no longer get Bali belly. The microbiome and the immune system can start to respond and find balance in a brand new environment. Same thing in Africa. So if that's true, why can't this be true with how we respond? Because now we need to find, even if the immune system is highly reactive, if we can find out what it's reacting to, we can help increase the chance of remission. I was extremely reactive to candida and virus. Okay. Now you could argue what's making me so reactive. Is it underlying mold toxicity? Is it EMFs? Is it a chronically messed up nervous system where you're in a sympathetic state too long, right? Is it the microbiome? It's always a little bit of these things, but how much influence does it have on this unique person? So every person needs a custom answer because we're all responding different to the environment. So you have to piece together what's really influencing you. So genetics, they always say, right? Genetics load the gun, but we fire the gun, right? We pull the trigger. And so I really believe it's like that because if you look at the opposite, Dr. Rob, it's an epidemic. 1 million people in the United States were diagnosed with IBD in the year 1999. By 2015, it was 2 million. Now it's over 3 million. And I think it's way higher than that.
I agree with that.
And so all these people who don't have family members who've been diagnosed now are getting it for the first time. And what will happen is society will try to enroll people in this whole generational IBD thing in about another 10 years because we'll be on second and third generation IBD. And it's not, because it's an epidemic. And in every epidemic, you have to understand the laws of epidemic, that it must be environmental for something to be spread across tons of people with different genetics who have no family history of it. Because IBD is only 70 years old. So that's my feeling on that. It's only 70 years old. Like, the first cases in the westernization world were really the 1950s. There was some talk of it back in the early 1900s, like very rare thing. 1950s is when it started moving. And if you look at the growth of inflammatory bowel disease with the Western world, it's very parallel. As the world becomes more Western, IBD becomes more Western. That takes us into more of the environment over society and skin. I think it's very similar to what we see with vitamin D. If you take a person of deeper complexion, it's harder for their body to make vitamin D that nourishes the immune system. Remember, vitamin D acts more like a hormone than a vitamin to help protect the immune system. We saw how important it was for COVID. Well, if you take a person of darker skin pigment and you put them in Canada, it's going to be a lot harder for them to be able to convert and make vitamin D than a lighter complexion person. Well, the higher up north you are, the higher complexion the population tends to be. I think there is a relationship on Western people, the Netherlands, UK, Canada. The highest increase in IBD right now around the world is Canada and around UK, okay, Western Europe, Northern Hemisphere. So we see that connection to maybe the equator. And also anyone with autoimmune disease is going to tell you they tend to get worse in the winter. Flu, COVID, viral, you don't get as much of the fruits and the natural foods, stress is higher, less sun, all of that, right? So I think that has something to do with it. And any of those people out there who've talked to us and really taught us and explained the epidemic of vitamin D and brought up the equator and brought up our abilities to use vitamin D, I think it just makes a lot of sense, because we know that a person of lighter skin complexion, their body out at the beach can make 25,000 international units of vitamin D within about 30 minutes of sun exposure. Okay, so this whole idea that 5,000 or 10,000 IUs of vitamin D is high, I don't agree with it personally. I think we're way underdosing vitamin D, and I think the hypercalcification and hypomagnesia problem is more of mineral deficiencies, soil deficiencies. Like vitamin K is deficient in the soil, so we're not getting it in the poultry and the meats that we're eating. So that's an example of what I think. There's just changes in our environment and the human body with the EMF, the blue light, the toxins, and the lack of sun exposure. I mean, how much sun have you gotten today, Dr. Rob? I haven't gotten much because I've been working since 8 a.m.
I didn't get any, and I've been inside since 8 o'clock this
We
morning.
got fluorescent lights sitting on us at the same time.
Yeah, all the lights for our podcast to brighten us up.
You both got them on right now, right?
To revert to what you said about genetics, could we coin a phrase that in the environment is now making an epigenetic moment in reference to IBD? Let you ponder that for a while. Second thing with vitamin D, we've discussed that, man, in tremendous detail here on the podcast, but it's never discussed enough. And to speak to what you're saying, somebody came in yesterday, I have a 62 vitamin D. The functional medicine doc said it's good. Yeah, 60 to 80, it's sufficient. 80 to 100, it's okay also. And, I have yet to see anybody walk in that's vitamin D that's too high and have any side effects. So I do want to piggyback on what you said. I do want to do some rapid fire with you. I'm going to speed you up a little bit. You lived in Manhattan, so you know what rapid fire is.
Do it up. And we do this
all. You have that connecting subway. You ready? Yep. Labs for IBD, Crohn's colitis. So I'm going to hit you with one, and you tell me yay, nay, and why. Mm-hmm. CBC, anemia, infection, inflammation. Yes or no?
I would say it's not a guarantee, but I'd say I'm sniffing around it. I'd say 75% yes.
C-reactive protein and ESR.
Highly needed, highly indicative of metabolic endotoxemia, highly related to IBD.
Liver function markers.
Same thing. Yeah. ALT, AST, same thing. And there's not a good liver test. There's not really a great liver test out there. You have to go on symptoms and patient and what's going on with them. And so, liver is absolutely key for all autoimmune disease. Highly overlooked.
Autoimmune antibodies.
Great for a diagnosis and understanding what's going on, but it doesn't do as much for me to actually treat the root issues.
Stool tests, predominantly calprotectin.
Fantastic for the colon. I like the Vibrant America Gut Zoomer because I look at multiple levels of inflammation, EAP, lactoferrin, calprotectin. But it's predominantly going to be the colon. A lot of what you find in a stool is not going to tell you too much about the small intestine because all that bacteria is made in the colon. So wonderful there. You got to take some things with a grain of salt, but sometimes the answers are right there and obvious in a non-invasive stool test.
And obviously, you and I both love leaky gut, testing for the tight junction protein enzymes, the actual inhabitants, etc. So you have something called a S.H.I.E.L.D. program. I love the metaphor of the S.H.I.E.L.D. to protect you.
Yes.
There you go. Can you go into detail about the S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah. So, for me, it's about creating what I always needed. And I needed an emotional shield. I needed a way to protect myself. How do I get healthy and happy at the same time? And how do I deal with this idea of an incurable disease? So shield really, I wanted to get on the offense. Like, don't just survive with this, thrive. You need to divorce your old life and create you 2.0 and just stop poisoning yourself and start optimizing yourself. And so shield is a way of saying it's my unique answer, and I can work with other people doing the shield, building their shield. And I can take what works for me and leave the rest. So I can work with every community. I don't have to just put up one flag. Okay. I can build my shield. I can talk to 2,000 other people building their shield for gut health. And then I can take or leave what I want. This person's vegan, doesn't matter. It's still a great conversation. This person's carnivore, this person's fruitarian, this person's fasting, this person's using this binder, this person's using this theory. It's all about understanding the total 360-degree process of what you can do that fits your shield. So shield can include anything out there. Right? Now, SHIELD, what does it stand for? Supplements, herbs, imagination, exercise, lifestyle, diet. Don't build a shield, build your shield, and do it with everyone else in the same room. Now, that's the acronym. Metaphor, it is the ability to respond to adversity. The problem is we think that we have to live in a bubble to protect ourselves against disease when we just need to be running up the hill towards the life we want, because we're all going to die anyways. We need to be able to respond to the adversity of disease. So SHIELD is like, imagine inflammation's coming at you, poor digestion's coming at you, GERD's coming at you, arthritis is coming at you, headaches are coming at you. How are you going to respond to any disease? You want to get married? You want to get in the best shape of your life? You want to run a marathon? You want to live to 150 with Brian Johnson? You want to go out there and look amazing, or you want to go make a lot of money and work 80 hours a week, get that promotion at that law firm? Build your shield. How do you respond? It's yours. And just get around others and then learn. It's just like we started learning how to hack the best metaphor I can give for people is about 20 to 40 years ago, we took back our power of managing our own wealth. Remember back in the 50s and 60s, it was really like unions, dad worked, mom stayed at home. Everything was relied on this company to take care of you the rest of life. A house cost 65 grand outside of San Francisco. That's what my grandfather bought his house for. Okay, 65,000. Now it sold for 1.1 million. It's crazy. It's like, oh, you made so much money? No, it cost somebody else that much for the same stinking house. It's inflation. So we took back it because we lost our power over our wealth, and we took back. Now all of us are looking at the S&P 500 or crypto or how to invest and put this in savings. Right. We're in the same thing with wealth. Now we all just have to take back our power with health. We have to build wealth in our health. Hey, what are you taking? What are you doing? What protocol are you running? Why are you fasting? What is the value of fasting? Why should I do it? You don't just build your shield for the defense of disease. It becomes the offense of the best life you didn't even know you wanted. Anything you've ever wanted in your life, anything. You want a better sex life? You want to live longer? You want to have less pain? You want to not have to worry about extra 10 pounds on you? You want to fix your thyroid? You want to fix your natural energy? You don't want to have to take 5 cups of coffee? Build your shield. Just get on the offense. Don't do it out of fear. See, I got into natural medicine out of the fear of disease. Now I thrive in it for the passion of optimizing my life.
Wow. Compelling. Like I said, I love the metaphor. So I'm going to hit you with some more thing. I did a lot of research on your SHIELD program. So awesome. It's out there.
Okay.
Works, AI, all that stuff. So we're going to talk about identifying triggers. So I'm going to give you a trigger. Okay. Thumbs up, thumbs down, epigrammatic answer. Let's go. One of the triggers, inflammation.
Yeah, that's the disease in itself, chronic inflammation, yes.
Immune responses.
Yes, that's the problem of the disease as well, yes. Even there's different layers, but yes.
Toxins. I think you talked
100%.
about it, both of them.
100%.
Infections.
100%.
You got me here. I love this one. Food sensitivities, because I believe that they're one of the reasons for chronic kidney inflammation. I love that you inserted that there.
So food sensitivities are huge, but I go at them a different way. I think that the food sensitivities are developing because of the destruction of the body's anatomy.
Agreed.
So if you're chronically sick and you're doing an IgG, IgA food panel and everything's coming up, I'm going, well, duh, Sherlock Holmes. you can't break down these proteins, and you've got leaky gut leaking into the bloodstream, causing a sensitivity. You've got to refix the microbiome. You got to fix that gut lining. So obviously, that's the whole idea of restrictive diets. Restrictive diets should be a temporary solution to help the body have a healing response, no more. But what we do is we don't actually get the healing response, so we stay in a restrictive diet of carnivore SED ketosis for 20 years, and that's not healthy. It has a short-term massive value, and we should all practice it, but after a while, it loses its validation, really. And it just means that something else is actually not getting fixed. So food sensitivity, I say yes, but you need to fix it, and it will no longer be sensitive if you do it right. Meaning I didn't have even cow dairy for 6 or 7 years, but I was fine with it while I was growing my entire life. And I didn't have an IgE2 true allergy. So I rebuilt my body's ability to handle cow because I was no longer sensitive to it once I fixed my gut.
I love it, because when you think about it, it's a chicken and the egg. Did leaky gut come before food sensitivities, or did food sensitivities cause the leaky gut? Who really knows?
And does restrictive diet incentivize more food sensitivity over long periods of time, or does it continue just to keep it at bay? Because if you constantly just eat restrictive,
Yes.
what happens to your microbiome and your diversity and your ability to handle these foods? If you have never had it in God knows how long, the problem is not whether a food is good or bad. The problem is whether the food is fake or real.
I'm with you, man. I'm on the escalator up.
Yes.
Gut dysfunction, I don't even think I have to ask you that. You know, you talk about in your identifying triggers, trauma and emotional. I mean, I think that's a real salient point.
Most people can't figure that one out, but just know this. Your body, what you perceive and what you feel as an energy will turn into a physical response through your nervous system. So if you hear that someone died, you will cry, you will have high amounts of cortisol, maybe you won't sleep as well, your heart rate will increase. That's a physical response to what you believe happened. So if stress can make you sick, what can gratitude and prayer do? You have to realize that energy actually turns into a physical response and changes the body through the nervous system. You need to regulate the nervous system, and you need to give yourself healing experiences.
Nutrient deficiencies. And the question is the nutrient deficiencies because the food is bad or because your gut is leaky?
Gut is leaky. It's a byproduct of IBD and dysbiosis. It's a byproduct of a system getting injured. If you had a system that needed to take a chicken and then turn it into all these different amino acids and fats and vitamins that your bloodstream and cells could use, if the digestion doesn't work, your cells can't get that. So you're going to become nutrient deficient if your gut is still having these problems, whether it's IBS, IBD. Then you have the problem of nutrient deficient foods. An apple only has 30% of the vitamin deficiency as it had 100 years ago. So we have deficient foods, we have toxins in our soil, and we have a destroyed microbiome. It's like the cell never had a chance.
Your elevator speech, how the S.H.I.E.L.D. program addresses these root causes of IBD.
Start with a program that is customized for you, that is simple enough that you can actually do it as a regular person, and that starts to address all these root issues at one time, that is also safe and effective, so low risk and high reward. So build a system that you can eat, you can keep up with, you get enough calories, that is bioavailable, that helps incentivize a reduction in inflammatory response, and also helps to incentivize a healing response with the gut lining, rebuilding the microbiome, optimizing digestion, and that you can actually do for a period of time. If it's working, you should, most of us, I'd say 60% of us may see symptom relief within 2 to 4 weeks. Not perfect symptom relief, but you will know when it's working. Some of our clients will see symptom relief, like 80% symptom relief in 14 days. We see it often. Maybe 15 to 20% of our clients will get that result. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds like a marketing pitch. It's not. The gut is the fastest healing tissue in the human body when given the chance. You just have to make a symphony. Build your symphony and just let that thing sing.
So I'm going to ask some questions off the script. Let's go.
Do it. Hit me.
Come on. An elevation of LPS, how long do you think it takes to attenuate that?
Everyone's going to be different. It depends on the strength of your liver, your kidney, how well your lymphatic system's working, and how much LPS you're getting from that dysbiotic issue. So, and the amount of biofilms you're dealing with, right? If you've been sick for more than 5 years, you're probably dealing with super biofilms. So just start reducing the amount of LPS. I'd probably be using binders and things like that, and start using light microbiome or beneficial bacteria to help incentivize that die-off balance. And then the more you support the liver and what's actually making it into the bloodstream, the faster it's going to go. But I think you can start to get that brain fog down and energy up within a matter of weeks. You'll feel it.
Yeah, I think 1 to 3, you'll see some of the symptoms abate somewhat.
Yeah.
LPS is a bear. Like you said, it's really hard to give a definitive time. It
Yeah.
wasn't a gotcha question. It was just a conversational question.
Well, you can spend 5 years trying to get rid of hidden deep LPS in your brain and your tissue. I mean, you can't get rid of all of it. It's just you're trying to balance how much you're getting because it's directly killing off the healthy cells in your body, increasing chance of senescent cells and increasing chance of cancer or any kind of all-cause mortality.
I'll share one with you. LPS may be the key reason why we have amyloid plaquing in Alzheimer's.
There you go. Yep, I completely agree. I mean, it's killing off brain cells. That's how Dr. Tom Bryan always says, just killing off brain cells, killing off brain cells.
Oh, yeah.
He's my guy. I like him.
I'd love to have him on a podcast. He was the first guy, honestly, that I heard that said gluten was bad. And he was getting hissed and booed. I mean, I get booed in Wisconsin because they say no dairy. So the cheeseheads get real perturbed at me.
Yeah.
That said, you really talk about something that's really intrinsic to me because I'm a chiropractor. You talk about the nervous system.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
everybody who follows the podcast knows that the enteric nervous system is the largest nervous system in the body. It's in the gut. It gives us this perception of neuroception, our ability to innately understand and feel subconsciously danger or safety. But you talked about the vagus nerve. So everybody's heard me give a dissertation on the vagus nerve. Give me your ideology of how the vagus nerve is involved and how critical it is to have proper vagus nerve tone.
Well, it's helping to regulate the digestion process and the ability to move toxins in and out of the body. So when the vagus nerve is not properly working, you're almost getting like a paralysis of the digestive tract. And so realize that the gut is the second brain, right? So what is going on with the gut will affect your mood, will affect how you feel. I mean, all of it's connected. So for you to get your vagus nerve stimulated, I mean, there's a lot of different people do like electrostimulation or tapping or, some people will do, there's so many different stuff. You just type in vagal nerve stimulation into ChatGPT. There's so many different theories on how you do that, but you can't get that properly working if you're constantly in a state of sympathetic stress. So if your autonomic nervous system is not properly engaging the parasympathetic, the vagus nerve will not work. And also I had a great conversation with another doctor yesterday who was talking about poor lymphatic drainage in your neck can also affect the vagal nerve. And I was just like, man, it's just all connected. It's like the ocean. You put a little bit of oil in the ocean and it has this massive cascade effect. It's the same with the body. The beautiful thing about that thought though is when you do one thing great, it can help everything else work great. So, I think that you got to watch your sleeping habits. You've got to get some breath, meditation. You've got to get that parasympathetic to work. I think that's foundational for number one, to get that vagus nerve to properly help enhance the digestive process. And one of my favorite hacks I tell people, it's like, just get yourself salivating. If you can get yourself salivating before you eat, that means that your parasympathetic nervous system is engaged. You're going to get better digestion. You're going to have more pancreatic enzyme output, more digestive output, probably less pain, probably less urgency. Get yourself to salivate before you eat.
Love it. I'm a big vagus nerve stimulator, the physiological side. 2 short breaths with 1 long breath do a great job. I love, as everybody knows, using the laser to stimulate the vagus nerve. The key to the vagus nerve, like you said so eloquently, was that it's a rest and digest nerve, but it's also the most anti-inflammatory nerve in the body because afferent and efferent pathways are anti-inflammatory, and the vagal splenal nerve is anti-inflammatory. So obviously we're fighting inflammation.
Yep.
And also it is a supporter through the spleen of the immune system, which really speaks to all your triggering contributions. And the idea, which I just wrote, my new slide is ponder. This is for medical doctors, chiropractors, naturopaths, and the like who venture into functional medicine. Is it root cause or root causes resolution?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to ask Dr. Jeffrey Bland that, and I'm going to sit down and just listen to it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to hear that. I mean, but it seems the writing is on the wall for so much of this. And I think a big point, Dr. Rob, I want to really give people right now as we start to wrap up is this idea that people have claimed they've healed in all of these genres we're talking about. I changed my diet, I healed. I worked on my nervous system. I did German new medicine. I did eye movement desensitization reprocessing. I did EFT tapping, and I cured myself. I got rid of my symptoms. Or God healed me. I just prayed and went over it, and someone touched on me, and all of a sudden my symptoms went away. I did worm therapy, or I did anti-parasites, or I started to take high dose probiotics and drink raw milk and make my own raw yogurts and healed. None of these people are really lying. It's just they found the thing that their body was able to use to overshadow the disease. So just don't take it as church, but just absorb what they're saying and then ask yourself, can I use an essence of what they're saying and compound it into my plan, my shield? Like if we know that people are claiming that nervous system regulation has helped heal them of autoimmune disease, how can you put something into your plan that works in conjunction with everything else instead of just saying that's stupid, that's hocus pocus, that's clapping my toes, right? Well, you stand on my head type stuff. So it took me years to figure this out, but ask yourself, if I'm going to add in something, does it have low risk and high reward? Like VNS or like, helping to make sure you're in the parasympathetic. There's almost no risk. There's no risk. Like it's all reward. So put the ego down for a second and ask yourself, what can I do that can easily compound the diet, the supplements, the root cause, the lab work on a daily basis to get this avenue in. So you need to know those avenues. That nutrition matters. It's not everything, but it's a big part of it. Your nervous system, it's not everything, but it's a big part of it. Supplements are needed. They are effective. These chemicals are alien. They are alien. You need supplementation to get these alien toxins out of your cells, out of your body, okay? Your drainage pathways can't do it alone, all right? And you need to also be able to optimize those anatomy we talked about. Like, where am I with my anatomy? If you're stuck, say, scale of 1 to 10, where's my digestion? Just use your intuition. When you heal, you have to sharpen your innate intuition. That is your North Star for the rest of your life. You've got to regain your power and regain your confidence that you have a feeling on where you should go. And because a lot of people were too scared, too traumatized, the answer is always outside of them. So they're always going, Dr. Rob, I'm not sure, I'm paranoid, I'm freaking out, going left and right. And you're like, this person has no confidence in their own self-belief and their own what they believe to be true, right? We can only lead a horse to water. That horse has to regain that confidence that I can still run. And so we have to be able to, you have to sharpen your intuition. As you're doing all this stuff, be the CEO of your health. Take it into consideration what other people are saying it's working. Even if you don't believe the story fully or you think it's hocus pocus, just ask yourself, can this help and how can it help? And can I do it with low risk and high reward? Compound everything together for your answer. You'll get massive results.
I have to say that they have to be willing to at least lift their shield for the defense mechanism that the shield will provide. Yeah. And I'm going to throw one thing from left field before we close, because I am going to ask you one closing question for a buddy of mine.
Hit me.
Number one, obviously IBD causes a tremendous amount of inflammation throughout the colon and the intestinal tract. Within that type of inflammation decreases the effectiveness of the GLP-1 signaling. So if anybody has any kind of condition like that, it is a clear contraindication for any kind of GLP-1 signaling. Fix the problem first. But here's the question for you. My friend lives in Switzerland and he says, Rob, listen to all your podcasts. I always end like this. Give me 1 to 3 things that I can do on Monday morning to make my life better.
Here we go. Stop drinking cold water, start drinking hot water. It's more bioavailable and use as a vehicle for a healing response. Maybe add in lemon, maybe add in apple cider vinegar for increased digestion, for liver support, for helping to heal the mucosal membrane. Maybe slippery elm, maybe a little bit of milk thistle, maybe fennel, maybe lemon juice for extra electrolytes. So get rid of the cold water, get hot water with lemon everywhere you go is going to be a great hack you can do. Number 2 is going to be make sure that you're salivating before you're eating every day. Stop snacking so much. Use intentive eating. You can eat a variety of stuff, but be very intentive on what you're eating and why, and make sure you're salivating before you're eating. And if you're going to have a celebration meal, because we don't cheat, we only celebrate. If you're going to celebrate, make sure you're actually celebrating. Don't put a grenade in your body and then freak out about the grenade, okay? Actually make sure you're celebrating. That's going to help with the nervous system. And number 3 is I want you to try to read 5 pages a day of someone that is already accomplished what you're trying to do. Books are cheap. You can get them for $5 or $7 online, but I'm going to give you the hack. You cannot think about your problems. You cannot stay in a state of depression. You cannot stay worried about how stuck you are and read a page at the exact same time. You can either read and get new knowledge, or you can think about your problems, but you can't do the same at the same time. We can do that with Audible sometimes, but we can't do that with reading. Read 5 pages a day about where you want to go. Okay, because what it's going to do is it's going to attract it to be closer. It's going to feel more possible. That's going to also calm down your nervous system. It's going to start giving you aha moments that are not going to cost you much money at all. So when you don't have a lot of resources, you got to be resourceful. But reading every single day has, by and large, been the biggest reason I've been able to help thousands of people, hire doctors around the world, work with doctors, and specialize in IBD, is it's constantly being curious. Don't do this out of fear, do it out of desire. Read 5 pages a day, it'll change your life.
Stay curious. I love what you're doing. I love what you're sharing. Keep that why going. Please do me a favor. Anybody's interested, that S.H.I.E.L.D program's available in the show notes. Jump on it. And I know that you told me that if someone just wants to reach out and ask a question, you are available.
Yes, they can reach out. And also we offer a free 60-minute session for anyone who has IBD and just looking to build trust and integrity. We're going to sit down. We're going to do a strategy session about your medication, symptoms, what you've tried. So whether you're a double black belt in natural medicine or you're just a beginner saying this is all overwhelming, we will hold space for you and we will see if we can really help. But we have to have trust and integrity to work together. That's non-conditional.
IBD Jedi Master, Dane Johnson. Thanks so much. Rob Silverman,
Rob.
Proven Health Alternatives. See you guys soon.